practically, when I was in my high school. And then I got off to college, and I actually loved it because it was all about structure and the environment. But, Theresa,
wow.
on that note, I have a question for you. So how did Cummings Management come out of all of this then? Is it just, again, back to the engineering degree, but you didn't really want to do that? Was it your time at Harley? Was it your time at Siemens, I think it was? How did you get
it? It was my
what
time
at
Siemens. Yes,
okay,
I was the director for training and development at Siemens, which led me to move to Atlanta, and which is where the headquarters is. And I took on that role for about 2.5 years. Within that first year and a half, I revamped the training program and actually saved the company about $500,000, managed a $3 million budget then. And I figured, okay, the company's changing. It's gone. It was a good ride for about good 2 years. We sold to an investor, and things started changing for the worse. So I had a little bit of a chunk of money because of the sale, and I decided, okay, I can do this on my own. I've been doing this enough. I have a great mentor who I met at Harley, and we've been the best of buddies ever since. And he became the CEO of another company, and I had some leads. I had another friend who moved from Pennsylvania, used to work for Harley as well, who lived in Nigeria. So there were a few leads that I had that I could get started with. So I decided to leave Simmons and form Cummings Consulting on my own.
And you never looked back?
There it was. I never looked back. It has been an exciting experience. I've always had an entrepreneurial type of style, and I didn't make a mistake. I just, the mistake I first made was having me as the only person, the resource. And you can't be afraid to fail, because when you fail, that's when you discover your strengths and weaknesses. So when I failed, I discovered, I said, you can't be afraid to fail. That's when you actually
say it one more time?
Truly
one more time. One more time, please. That is no.
Fail.
And I'm not being funny, but it's so powerful that people. I'm sorry. I literally just had a conversation with somebody less than an hour ago saying those exact same words. I just emailed a friend via Facebook saying those exact same words because I'm a living witness, and I'm sorry to be taking your time now, but I gotta say this. My greatest lessons have come out of my failures, not my success. Now, don't get me wrong. I want to win. I want to do well, but looking back over these 41 years, my greatest victories, my greatest joy, and it wasn't joyful at that time, but have literally come out of my failures. So sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. That's great. Well, I failed the first time, and having myself as the only source or resource within my company, I had 2 major clients, and then one of them, the international client, fell off. That program pretty much ended, and then there was a lot of layoffs in the other company, which the market share dropped, and I was basically left with no clients. So where I was supposed to be the busiest, when I was the busiest, I should have been actually streaming, and increasing my staff, increasing more businesses, but I stayed stagnant. But I could not do it all alone, and that was my mistake. And I read the book, The E-Myth, The Entrepreneurial Myth by Michael Gerber, and it basically says when you go into business for yourself, you're trying to assume 3 roles. You're not the strong at all 3 roles. The role that you're actually performing in that service, the person that's the visionary or leader, and then the day-to-day management of your business. I am not a good day-to-day management of my business. I am a very good forethinker, and I love being in the classroom and training. I'm not a good person to design the training, to sit down at a computer and think. I'd rather talk through what I want to do and have somebody write it and put it in a nice package. So my strengths and weaknesses, I was trying to fulfill my weaknesses as strengths, and I could not do that all in one. So I was trying to be three people in one, and I was not successful at it. So now, hindsight, I'm putting things in place that allows me to have people in my corner who are unlike me that can actually balance my strengths, my weaknesses, and make them strengths overall for the company. So that's basically my focus and what I'm trying to do now.
Awesome. Wow, so big, so big. Well, now, Theresa, fill us in on this panel. I know I actually read about you were a part of a panel, if I'm not mistaken, like 2 weeks ago in Atlanta, and it was all about women and leadership. What was that panel?
Yes, it was Women in Leadership, Power Your Potential for the National Sales Network chapter in Atlanta. I was a moderator as well as a member of the panel with some strong women, the COO of Clayton County, the owner of Mercedes-Benz in Buckhead, who also was the Assistant Attorney General for the state of Georgia. And I'm also a Diversity and Inclusion Director. That's actually based out of San Francisco. Medtronic, yeah. I believe.
Okay.
Yes, so very, very powerful women, and it was a pleasure to be a part of that. And anybody that knows me, I'm not a standard type person that does everything else that everybody else does. So they were expecting me to be behind the podium the whole time, but I kind of played Oprah. I was all in the audience and getting questions and answers within, the panel. So it was a very, very great, marriage between the audience and the panel. So everyone really enjoyed it. But women in leadership, it's very important we graduate at a higher rate than men do, but then we don't have higher positions at the table. So we have to be more cognizant of how we are managing ourselves and leading people to the point where we're more at the table and doing the things that we're supposed to do. And we talked also about there's 3 components, and you guys would love this from a football perspective. I try to focus and ask people how much do you want it and how much are you putting in. You can either play to win, play not to lose, or play to lose. And when you think about those components, it goes with any sport, it goes with any aspect of life that you're trying to achieve a certain goal. A lot of us try to play not to lose, but playing to win is like putting your all into something. It's not being afraid to fail.
Right.
It's not trying to meet the status quo. You play to lose. I teach my first line managers that I'm training now. A lot of them admit to playing not to lose. They don't want to stand out. They don't want to be, the person that somebody calls on because they're afraid of failure. So, yes, those are 3 choices you can make. Every single day you can decide whether you want to play to win or play not to lose.
Well, the people that we work with in First in Life and in our coaching, it comes down to that. Basically, athletes being afraid to lose, that's when their career falls off. And the further we go on, our body starts to deteriorate, to fall apart, basically, especially in a sport like football. And that fear can just creep into those spaces when our body doesn't work the way it used to work when we were 21. All of a sudden, the fear of I'm not good enough, I'm going to lose, that creeps in, and we don't allow ourselves to really experience what the learning could be. How do we make ourselves better or the best you that you're capable of being? And if you don't allow yourself to fail, if you don't allow yourself to lose, you're going to just end up spiraling into a mess of failure. There's no way around it. If you are afraid of failure, you will fail. If you welcome failure, you're going to have it's going to change your total perspective and outlook on life and the task at hand.
Yeah.
So
I'll say this, just to put my
attitude.
Sorry, Steve, go ahead.
No, it's the same what you were talking about in school and how you do well in school. And this is a lesson that I learned late too. But showing up to class with the right attitude, the right outlook, and trying to create relationships, those things you can demonstrate by showing up early, by staying late. The learning that you get 5 minutes before class starts and 5 minutes after class starts by making relationships and sharing your positive attitude and outlook, you will do well. I mean, it doesn't matter how smart you are at that point. If you are doing those things, you will learn, you will succeed, and people will recognize that and acknowledge that and notice that. And it's about...
No, and just so you know, I want to go back to something she said earlier about, she realized that engineering was not something that she really wanted to do. She wasn't passionate about it. And I just think back, to my household, how I was actually raised. My thoughts were always, boy, grow up and you get you a good job. Good job for us back then meant, you go to the post office or you work for the government or something. But I wish we could change our thought process and not even focus so much on your passion, but focus on your gift. Because one thing I do know is that I believe this true to my heart. Everybody in this world, in this country, we are uniquely made, and we all have a gift. If we can ever take the time to just hone in and to see that as your gift. But most of us, because when we come from that school of thought or that training or our parents saying, go find that good job, we start focusing on that passion. And I'm not saying that passion is bad, because you need passion. But what I finally come to realize is that when passion fades or when it's not quite there, if you truly are honed in on that gift, that thing that at the end of the day, whether you're getting a dime, a dollar, or nothing, if you're just doing it pro, quote-unquote, bono, you enjoy it, you're fulfilled, and you're happy. And I'm not going to lie, man, I'm 41 years old, and it probably took me 37, 36 years to actually figure that out. And it was a really eye-opening moment. And now, you're talking to a guy that had good jobs, that's made money, that's owned his own quote-unquote business, that's played football. But I was passionate about football. I was passionate about owning my own quote-unquote business, whether it be cleaning, construction, but that wasn't my gift. My gift is what we're doing here with First in Life, which is basically encouraging people to really and truly seek and to live out that thing that is also their gift, almost being a voice, if you will, for the voiceless. So I certainly applaud you, Theresa, with everything that you're doing, because that is big, especially in this age and time. To be able to leave what I call the security of the first and the 15th, or the 15th and the 30th. Because guess what? Some of us are just wired like that. We like to know we got a stable check and it's coming on the 1st or it's coming on the 15th. Well, I'll tell you right now, I walked away from corporate almost 4 years ago, four and a half years ago. I don't know a 1st or a 15th. Have not experienced one, have not seen one, okay? But I've never been more fulfilled in my life than right now, today, Again, I can't begin to just expand on this enough, because I think it's so important, because sometimes we're so busy planning, we're so busy thinking that we've got it all figured out, when we really don't. But when you truly hone in on that gift, and when you truly hone in on that skill set, folks, I'm telling you, as a living witness, things will just start to happen. I'm in New Orleans today. I'll be speaking on a panel to a conference of doctors, and I've said this several times. Other than me graduating from college, I don't have any letters in the back of my name, MD, LD, RN, whatever. But I'm speaking to a panel of doctors about me and my vegan vegan lifestyle and how I changed my life. Now, I can tell you right now, 2 years ago,